and start us off, Ian, seeing as it's been a while for you.
It's been a while. I'm a bit rusty. So,
Go on then.
Hoey, lad. All right. So we begin on the second half of Saturday.
Oh
Welcome
my
back,
God,
everybody.
Ian, you really are rusty.
I am. I know, guys. This is
Not even a
horrendous.
hello and welcome to the...
Oh, okay. Yeah. We should actually do that, shouldn't we?
We're going to keep all this in, though.
In reality, we've literally just had the chance to go down and get a very warm cup of water because it's extremely hot.
Yeah.
But no, welcome everybody. We're on to Saturday, second half now. We're about to kick into the sad times of the telling.
Wow.
The fashion show has just ended, as has the wedding that Agni's been at. And we're all basically staging up, ready to do this quite severe tonal shift.
Yeah.
So we'd kind of spent some time preparing, but obviously everything has slightly evolved as a result of Gaius dying. How had that sort of changed for you, Bung? Like the headspace changing from what you thought you were going to do, moving to what you now have to do?
Good question, because initially I was more sort of dreading the whole sort of, I really want to do Gellert proud with this telling, because obviously like you touched on earlier, he was known not just throughout our nation, he was known throughout a lot of empire by a lot of different people. So it was like leading up to the event, that was what a majority of my nerves were about, was all that sort of stuff like that. And then going terminal that morning was like, well, no matter how the telling goes, it's going to finish with a bang. But it was it was weird. It put me in a whole different headset towards it as well, because it put Keys in touch with his own mortality. Because obviously prior to then, like, I hadn't been on the battlefield for 2 years. I was getting to that point where I was like, well, this character's pretty much going to last me until I finish playing this game. And then it's like, oh, well, this has happened. Obviously playing a guide meant he was thinking about all the sort of the virtues and everything like that, and how passing through the labyrinth would be, and how his dance was ending, and how Gellert's had already ended. So it sort of helped me put in a bit more of a mind frame of being more solemn, because I know in the past we've had slightly jokier tellings. I say jokier tellings, more light-hearted.
Yeah.
Which initially I was going to go in and be a little bit more light-hearted with it. But like I say, going terminal meant I was a bit more solemn about everything. I think that came across.
I think it did.
Yeah, I did try to sort of like not make it too heavy. Like doing the old intro of the friends, acquaintances, enemies, and those as of yet undecided. And when I said when I said the enemies and those of yet undecided, I was making direct eye contact with the Prince of the Crimson Reapers. I was just staring at him while I said that.
I loved it. I love the fact that my game with the Reapers includes just you getting really aggressive towards half of their members.
Yeah, I had to protect my wife.
My wife.
Yeah, my wife is under threat from the Reapers. I'll do what I can to
Your wife
make
puts
that less.
herself under threat of the Reapers literally every single time.
I know.
Talis has had
It's a
this
cry
whole
for attention
thing.
from her husband.
Talis has had this whole thing of like, we all knew what we got ourselves into, and I have no sympathy for anyone. Not myself, not you, and certainly not Agni. Right?
Agni is a chaos herald, and I'm going to put that in there now as canon.
So funny. So before the whole, because the problem I had, we kind of talked about this a little bit before it kicked off, Bung, was like the tonal shift from like post fashion show, which is very whoop, into telling. So I decided I was going to sing like basically the first verse, if you like, of a song that I wrote, which is the chorus is kind of very Ashbourne. So that just kind of was to basically essentially just get people's attention that something was happening.
Yeah.
And be
that was also that was the song you sung in the Corpse Glade.
Yeah.
Last summit when we were putting the stuff up for Gellert.
Yeah. So it was nice to do, and I felt that then let me kind of introduce you. Well, I didn't even really do that. I just sang it and walked away, and then you sort of kicked off with the telling as you described.
I mean, before you started singing, I did do the old slam the cane on the stage to get everyone to shut the fuck up. The classic move.
Yeah. It was such a good Ashbourne way of starting an Ashbourne tradition.
Yeah.
Because it was just like the cane smashing on the stage, drew everybody in, got them to shut up. And then Ian's song like perfectly created that tonal shift of the emotions that you were talking about, because a lot of the people that were still there were from the fashion show, so they kind of went, oh shit, no, this isn't for us, and cleared out. And then it drew in a lot of the people that were there, and there was a lot of people there.
There was a huge amount of people there, a lot of movers and shakers in the world of Empire as well, which was very nice to see. I mean, earlier unfortunately they weren't able to make it, but Claude was hoping to make it, but sadly they weren't able to.
Yeah.
Because I'd spoken to them earlier in the summit about it. But yeah, it was sort of going up there and obviously introducing who I am, and also what the telling actually is, because it's an Ashbourne tradition. It's not a Navari tradition.
It was really weird, wasn't it? Walking around, like having this, like, and this happened obviously partly at the previous event, but going into this event, the idea that like people who know what the telling is know, but also the idea of there being a funeral for Gellert and all that kind of thing invites a wider thing. So it was nice to kind of to explain it, but it was also it's one of the cool things about the Ashbourne is, like, again, we're a very small group, but in a way we've all kind of made, as a group, we've made some waves, right? That our traditions are known, that people would come up and ask, is there going to be a telling? You know.
Yeah, I think it was really nice. And a lot of people wanted to talk as well.
Yeah, I mean, initially when I first did my first bit, they invited people up to talk. It was just like,
oh yeah,
like, shit, is this going to be...
everyone was too scared to
tumbleweeds. I was like, I can't remember who ended up going up after I did my little talk.
It was the Brass Coasters.
Yeah.
Whose wedding, so fun little fact.
Oh, it was the wedding that you and Gellert
went to, and they're the reason why Agni got married, Icy. Not because she's like, I want to do that, but because it opened her up to the idea of love. Gross, disgusting sentiment. But yeah, so the Brass Coaster went first. The Freeborn. I need to stop calling them Brass Coasters.
You don't put drinks on them.
No. Well, moving on.
What happens in close tents stays in close tents.
But yeah, so they go first, and then I don't know if you noticed this, Bung or Ian, where the people just kept on coming. Like we had the Freeborn, then Dan. Oh my God, Dan from the EP. Beautiful. Oh God, that broke my little heart.
I think that was the one that, like, bear in mind they're all like amazing, but like for some reason, I think it's because we've known Dan since he was, younger, and we've kind of seen him grow into the awesome person he is. Yeah. I think there was something like it kind of crossed that sort of IC-OC divide of like the emotions of what it is to inhabit this space with these awesome people, and to see the man who Dan is become who he is. Yeah, and share these emotions with us was just like so empowering. Like it was awesome.
I guess it's because for him as a young person, that line of OCIC at the time when he first started coming to Empire was blurred, and then him retelling it blurred that line for us. It was, oh my God, my little heartstrings.
So I think Dan was 15, 16 when he first came with Rob.
I've no idea, to be honest with you, but he's a wonderful human being.
So wonderful.
Yeah. And him. There was obviously Rizhart.
Yeah, oh my God,
great.
It was absolutely awesome to have him up. Rowan.
Mm-hmm. Rowan was so good, because like Rowan's like literally the person that Gellert stood behind to support to become the senator that succeeded him, and has a lot of the same sort of values.
Oh my God, yeah! Like watching Rowan conduct themselves over the weekend. When I only had one, because I was so busy on the Friday, I only really had one interaction with them as senator. They'd brought a huge amount of senators together, which in and of itself is a triumph.
Just finding one senator anywhere on the field. And getting them somewhere.
Yeah, or their proxies, incredible. And then on top of all of that, they were managing to multitask. Like they were the go-to for half of their striding things, like mana crystals. Rowan had some, and they already had some allocated for the war chest. Like they think about everything. And I am so excited for E4, where I'm going to actually like sit with them and actually learn something. Oh my God, I like,
Yeah, I think for you, this
peak.
is a slight aside, but like for you, this was a difficult event to re-enter politics because of all the other things that were happening. I think the next event will favour you a lot more because you have more time now that everyone's dead.
Just got my telling to do. That won't be long.
Wow.
It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, like it was, but having Rowan come up and really kind of go into it's very kind of human interaction, you know, just like and all of them were like this. It was just interesting to hear all these different viewpoints of
it's legacy, isn't it?
Yeah, the legacy of the character. It was amazing.
Then having Murdoch come up as well, and
oh God,
Quill doing his song "Roll Hook in Your Roll."
Oh
that was
God,
great. The songs were really good. But also, this was another really interesting thing. Me and Agni on the side, we were kind of like thinking about like tempo slightly.
Yeah.
Like when should the songs come in? When should I do my bit? When should and it was nice to sort of have Quill come on relatively early, just to be like, this is an environment where songs are allowed as well, and also because he's an Ashbourne, and it's an awesome song, which is, I mean, Roll Herculean Roll is great and perfect for
it's
Gellert
so
as
good.
well.
Yeah.
But then it was nice to later on have the double bill of
Silgor was there
Silgor,
as well.
and
was it? I can never remember his current IC name. Riddick.
That's it. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, it is Riddick.
It was so beautiful, and like hats off to you, Bung. I know you did a lot of like OC organising for the whole telling and like getting everything sorted, like booking the space.
I didn't book the space; that was all Ian.
Well, yeah, but like the two of you put so much work into it, and it was. I always get so scared when it comes to showing emotion, like silly emotion. Like, this is going to sound ridiculous. Crying, easy. Speaking words that mean something to you and somebody else involved, terrifying. Like, I had a little speech prepared for Gellert, and obviously me and Dave, like, really good mates.
Yeah.
More like he's one of my best UH. I don't know what he's talking about. And knowing that he was there, and it's one of those strange things, because, and I was talking to one of my non-LARPing friends about this, because they're always like, yeah, but they're still alive, right? Like, they're not actually dead. And you're like, no. But the first time I met Dave, he was Gellert.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, like, from that has become this incredible, like, Gellert is responsible for most of the interactions and the connections that Agni has. And yes, this is stroking Dave's ego quite considerably, but I'll allow it for this minute.
We'll allow it.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the Reapers. Like, Billy, I met him first as Kostya. The prince, Sicaro, met him first as the prince, and then they become your friends. Like, you know, that really weird moment after time out at the end of a LARP, and you go, so what's your real name? And then you meet Dave, you meet Ian, you meet Bung, and it's like this whole saying an actual goodbye to Gellert and Kostya and everybody else that died this weekend. You're like, I'm going to see the person again.
Yeah.
I'm never going to see that iteration of them again. Yeah. And it's horrible. It's heartbreaking.
Yours was really good, Millie. It was really, really good. Really, like, because the thing is as well, weirdly, even though I, as Ian, have known Dave since we were both 3 years old, which is crazy. But like, I kind of feel like Talus is like slightly more on the periphery of you three, right? You three definitely had a core relationship that was like, you know, Gellert, Gaius and Agni were the diplomatic powerhouse of the Ashbourne. You went off and you know, you had adventures together and things.
Yeah, we had our superhero profile pic.
Oh my god, that photo's amazing. But like, you know what I mean? So like, in a sense, my role in the group is kind of different, right? Talus is not is like he's he obviously cares about all these things, but he's slightly on the outside of that immediate friendship group. That and it was like you guys are all like proper Bezzy mates, right?
Yeah.
Well, Tallis is like that kind of kooky person who hangs around and is kind of friends and is like the weird like party friend.
Yeah. But the best party friend. Don't no more self-deprecation.
no, but it was like, so it was really like both of your speeches, to be honest with you, just so touching, because I felt like you both hit on caught parts of the characters, but also what the character meant to you. And you get those kind of interesting points where you're kind of like, you're listening to the character speak and you're listening to the player speak, and you're able to appreciate it on both levels, because it obviously all of it comes from the heart. And it's a great moment to share that. I mean, when it came to my bit, it was kind of like, again,
my God, your speech was
Tallis's
amazing.
I was like, I kind of again, like Tallis's view of death and what to do is a bit different. And it was like, for him, he's always, because I used to do the tellings before Gaius took over.
Yeah.
And Tallis's thing was always like, why do we do tellings? Like, what's the purpose behind them? Why is there a ceremony? All that kind of style of stuff. What it is to be Ashbourne. Which is actually, all of this is just like him dealing with his own grief, essentially. but like, it was fun to do, like, essentially quite I don't know, not aggressive, but like a more kind of powerful
it was great
speech of like basically like along the lines of we are Navari, we know loss from the time of ancient Taruniel until this very moment. And then sort of going into like what Geller did and how he helped us find the way and all this kind of stuff. It was nice to sort of hit those moments, and importantly to bring out those kind of core sayings, from ashes we rise, from sorrows we grow, and burn bright and all that kind of stuff. Just because the thing is as well, you guys are hitting those emotional notes, right? You're hitting those interpersonal emotional notes, which are very core and are literally the heart of what the telling is. So it's nice to sort of Tallis can kind of do that sort of more sort of functionary kind of part of like bringing what it is to be here in this space, sharing these moments together. Yeah.
You also had a really good ear on the ground when it came to like tonal shifts, like because I obviously like my brain was going into scheduling like work mode where I was like, okay, we've got this much time left, we need to do this, this and this, and then you were like, no, calm down, like now's a good time for a song. Now's a good time for this. And then obviously like I wanted to go last as Agni because I thought that like I was literally going to close my notebook on my notes with Geller and that was going to be it. And I thought that was a really good end of it all.
Yeah.
And I think it was like sad speech, lovely song. Like Silgor did Little Boy, is that what it's called?
Big Old Boy.
Big Old
Boy, one of Gellert's favourite songs.
Yeah.
A big old boy. It was great.
Yeah, it was so good.
And everyone singing along. It was beautiful.
And then like Quill had his song, and they're all like, it was really good way of like maintaining the tone. And then because you knew that Agni, because obviously you OC had helped me write a little bit of it and like check it over.
Which was really fun to do, by the way. It was really nice just to sit down and just bear in mind you had all the ideas. It was just sort of working through it and just basically making it easier for you to read and to say was essentially the goal.
But yeah, so like it was really good, and like you fit into the niche of what was missing at that telling perfectly. So thank you very much. But you closed us all out, Bungle. How did you end it all?
Well, ended it all with the tradition of the Navari thing is like doing Strength of the Empire, and the call of Strength of Navarre back. Obviously, did the first one, was a bit lackluster. So I was like, no, we can do better than that. They got another big chant, and on the Return of the Strength of Navarre, I had pre-made a lovely little mix of maybe some fake blood and water, courtesy of my wonderful wife. And the Strength of Navarre, basically, as soon as that happens, I just stumble off the stage and then cough up a ton of blood over the floor.
Yeah. Hey, that blood is great, isn't it?
That looked so good coming out of my mouth. I was like, oh, this looks like I've actually just literally coughed up a lung. This is brilliant.
Yeah, it was horrible.
So that happens, I sort of stumble off and sort of start to fall, and everyone's basically like, shit. and get me back to the camp, get me sat down in my chair. Yeah. No, so you and Murdoch taking me out my bandages.
Yeah, well, it was like Murdoch was trying to save him. Like, he was trying to save you, and I was like, there's nothing you can do. Yeah. And it's like, I took the bandages off you, and in my head, it's like, you're doing the thing where you're just going to let it happen. Yeah. Oh God, it was horrible.
Yeah.
It was really interesting because obviously, like, some people there obviously knew that you were terminal, and some people didn't. So
yes, Orion didn't.
Yeah, Orion didn't, because he'd literally he'd had a hell of a day running around,
my God,
getting everything done. We won't go into all the things, but he'd had a hell of a day, and literally turned up and hadn't realised. I was trying basically to, again, because I can kind of fill that role, just check in on everybody and make sure everybody was okay, because I knew that Gaius was dying, and just offer out little bits of food and just thank everybody for being there and do all of that side of things. So I think that's very important to do as well, because people have taken time out and things to come and do the thing. So I could do all that sort of functional stuff. And it was also awesome to see everybody. But then I think it was Oily, I think, came over and was like, Talis, it's time. And so then, like, it came over and it was like the last moments. Oh my gosh.
It's
me gripping onto Agni's arm, staring into her eyes, saying I love you.
It's a weird... Agni is in trouble, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. She needs a good therapist. If anybody knows of any IC therapists that Agni can go to.
Oh man.
They're called Kikabayos, aren't they?
Oh God, no, she doesn't have the money for a Kikabayo. But it was a very, I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, this is a very touching thing for Keys or Gaius, however you want to say it, spell it, whatever. The way that you went was really good, I think, because it wasn't a big public spectacle like a lot of people want to Empire. No. It was a touching moment in his home, in his striding, surrounded with the dread shield, surrounded with, like, because obviously people had followed
with friends
us,
and
people had followed us from the telling. And it was just really nice. I think it was really beautiful as well. But yeah, how do you feel after it?
It was certainly, I think it was, like you say, it was definitely it was the right death for Keys, and it was the right time to do it over the weekend. I think, because I could have dragged the character out for the rest of the weekend, but no, it was like, that was all I had left to do was that telling.
Yeah.
And it was like, I've held on for this. My body can't hold on any longer, basically, was what my brain was thinking. It was like, I'm literally holding the labyrinth at bay to get this done, and as soon as I've done that, it's just like, boom, open those gates.
It's like your loyalty has outlasted you, and then it's like,
loyalty was holding me back to finish this thing for Gellert, and then once I was done, it was like, boom, I've completed.
It was really nice to do, like, the farewells in the Ashbourne camp, under the Ashbourne awning with the Ashbourne flags, and just have those final moments in that place where you have been like a solid rock for everybody. Like, you've been like that awning, right? Like the pillars of it, right? You've held that camp together at times, and bear in mind, there's been a lot of stuff that's happened to the Ashbourne over its story, and all the different characters that have been there, the people we've lost, the people we've gained, the stories that we've told there around that space. But Gaius has always been there, so I think it was a very sort of fitting space and time to do it, and you nailed it, dude.
I mean, I could have said take me to the corpse gate to do there, but I think the place that he should have gone, like you say, would have been at the shredding camp. That's
it was home,
take me to the corpse gate once I'm dead. Don't take me there to die.
Well, it was nice because obviously afterwards, your brother turns up late to the telling,
bastard.
And but we had your effects to take over to the corpse blade, which we did take over, and that was nice. We still got to do that thing, and I got to share that space with Bungle, essentially, right? In that sense. And so we still got the whole corpse glade thing, but importantly, the moment with Keys, or Gaius, it was there in the camp with all of us together.
Yeah. And I think like I'd never been to the Corpse Glade before either. So being taken there by Talis and by you at that point, who was Bung, it was really nice. Also, like, right, purely breaking here for a second, the logistics of keeping all of those little trinkets that go in the Corpse Glade together. Isn't it? It's so good. And like it was that moment of like because we were looking for Gellert's little pendant for a while, and I was like, oh, it's probably just lost. And then you find it. Like I cannot remember the name of the person who looks after the Corpse Glade.
It's Jamie.
Jamie.
Awesome.
Like incredible. It's like thank you so
I
much
don't know how they
to
do
Jamie.
It,
hats off to them. Like, seriously, it's an amazing part for the camp.
Yeah, and it was an incredible place where, like, because Agni broke down in Talis's, like I had a proper little breakdown where I was like, it means nothing. Like everything that my husband has ever been, everything that Gellert has ever been, is surmounting to a name on a pendant. Like it was, and then having Ian, having you as Talis, like talk me round and be like, no, it's about so much more than that.
Being able to be like, it's like the memories that we've shared and the things we've been through, the people we've grown as together is no small thing, and that is what lives here with us. And those kind of thought processes. It was super touching. I think like. Yeah.
And I left my wedding ring on the first event. I have a fucking wedding ring. Husband dies. Like, it's so fucking stupid.
It was. Well, you got his braid now.
It was great. It was so nice. We literally put your token next to Gellert's. And it was really like, we even kind of joked how like Gellert's is this big thing, yours is like small and understated, but very Gaius, you know. But it has this sort of shining jewel of Agni's ring. It was gorgeous, like as like a bit of symbolism. But it was really nice throughout the whole event. The whole event, but I think especially from this point on, Millie, like you and me got to share lots of really touching RP. Because at this stage, we kind of are the last ones left. I mean, there's Quill as well, obviously, and Haddock off in Far Sumar. Hopefully he won't come back and literally be the last one. That would be
God, imagine. If we go at the rate we're going, though, guys, there's only 3 events left in us.
But no, it was super touching to get to walk around and do all the things for the rest of the event, and just have these little check-ins with Agni and just be like these different views on life, because we are actually very, very different characters, but there's this kind of real closeness that is shared, I think.
Yeah, I think my favourite icy memory of Agni and Talis is the first, so it was after Sinwig's telling, we all went out to the Reapers to go and get drunk, and it was like one of those weird times where it was basically Millie and Ian really drunk together, but it was giggling and running away from the Reapers, and like just it was like peak.
It sums up for the relationship, right?
Genuinely is like the fact that Agni and Talis will just always be together no matter what. There's so much like love between us, and it's like that whole, oh god, it's like next event it's going to get so much worse. Wow.
Oh my gosh, don't even.
But it's just so, I love the Ashbourne. Like I love our dynamic. I love our traditions. I love everything about us. It's literally my home. Empire.
We built something very special, I think. As a group of friends, primarily, like that's the most important thing. But the characters, I think, are all very special and made stronger for each other's presence. Like the entire environment of what it is to be Ashbourne, I think, was a real thing, and I think more so this time than ever before, I was just left to reflect on that, like the fact that we have done a cracking job here, right? Like I'm very, very happy with the story.
It's a beautiful story.
you know.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful legacy, beautiful story.
Wonderful characters. You can't ask for better. And like, phenomenal. You guys played the balls off it as well. It was just so good.
Wow.
So, man, we should probably. What came next?
We were. I think like we kind of just chilled out. We had a massive decompress, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was quite nice. Like Ian and I, like we went out of character for a little bit. We got milkshakes, had a nice little chat.
Nice. Yeah,
it was really nice. And like we just chilled out, and I made sandwiches for everyone.
Yeah, sandwiches.
Oh my god, honestly, I'm not going to make a thing out of it because one, it's expensive, and two, like my sandwiches are very personal. All right, they're made with love. But if you did happen to want to get some pre-cooked chicken, put it with 2 types of cheese, bit of salad, bit of tomato, nice bit of pizza salt from the salt lord or salt baron himself.
Yeah.
Some pears with mine. It was
great. My
great.
god, yes. I love the fact that we have weird taste buds together. It makes me so happy.
So good.
I would have quite liked some pear, but that wasn't offered to me.
Well, you could have asked. There was pear.
I didn't know it was available.
Fair, I just asked. I didn't know it wasn't offered. I just asked. I was like, how about a little bit of pear?
The pear came from a traveling trader who had apricots, peaches, and pears, and I was like, I will trade you some of those. Like, I think I gave him. I can't remember how much money I gave him, but I just chucked money at him. I was rich this event.
I had a whole thing of because this has been going on, by the way, all this event. But basically, I'm trying to get a spa built in Rikos, which is a Highguard territory, and that's part of this new opportunity that has arisen for Navarre, which is to have way houses built. And what these basically do mechanically is let people essentially benefit from the great works in that territory as Navarri, and it will also increase the income of that territory for the nation that is hosting it.
Yeah.
Thematically, I wanted to sort of theme mine as this kind of luxury bowl bath spa resort, which is hosted by Talis.
I loved it. And I forgot about this. We got Ephesus scales done.
We got Ephesus scales done. That was true. I mean, and that was
Ramble.
Yeah, thank you, Red. That was so good. That was really good. Bram's amazing, and also Cadogan as well. We were originally going to get it done with him, but he was just busy, and so Bram was there. Oh well, bear in mind they're doing like super duper high mag rituals together, things that we as Navarre thought we'd never be able to do. Those guys are pulled off. All the people in Entwined Paths and Waystone are just kicking absolute arse.
The evening camp this summit.
Oh yeah.
They had a proper A-frame tent, like a huge A-frame tent.
Really big. Yeah.
Like, so good.
Guy who makes that, he actually has 3 more of them, so technically they could basically have a long haul.
Oh my god, they should. EP deserve a long haul, man.
That's one thing I regret not getting a chance to do before Keys carked it, was Callaghan had asked me to perform a brand for him to become the brand of the Strangest Song. But unfortunately, obviously, before that was able to be done.
It was a tricky event for a bunch of stuff like that. Like I wanted to do a tattoo for Seth Blackhawk, who's basically our national captain of training. I'd been talking to you about it, Bung. But just the heat and just the congestion. I mean, this is LARP, right? But the congestion of events just means sometimes times don't match up, and now's not a good time, and later doesn't turn out to be a good time, and then you're busy here and they're busy there.
I mean, like we said it before on our Friday episode, like this event is busy. It's the busiest event, and I think because it's the last sort of big event, everybody's trying to get everything done, which makes it so hard to actually nail somebody down. I
mean, for my part, essentially, because I never really got to talk about Friday, but really quickly, I was giving out information packs, which is a big thing I do. But a lot of that also is I try and dedicate a good portion of Friday to just going to as many camps in Navarre as I can and getting like a Talis vibe check and seeing where everybody is and what I can help with and just trying to be like...
Ian.
Yeah, I believe I tried to keep up with him. What happens to Talis on a Friday night? I went around with him for a bit.
Part of it. Oh, that was so good. Yeah. You probably got into that then on the episode, but it was.
I did mention. I mentioned that I can't remember much of it because I was horribly drunk on Embercar cider.
Oh yeah, we had a good time. But it's nice. It's nice. But it was so good. But I was basically doing more of that on Saturday, just getting money in. But this all comes off. This is all a massive waffle off you, Millie. Fucking hell. From
such
saying,
good friends, Ian.
Oh my god, so good friends. Yeah. from you saying you were giving money in exchange for that food. Just to say, I was getting kind of money in, but I was also sort of. You get those moments where you're just like, I can just give out like 10 rings here or whatever, and it's like, so I'm making small amounts of money really in the end, but it's nice just to be able to like find some new players and just be like, go and that thing you're doing is awesome, or that thing you want to do is great. Take 10 rings, and then all of a sudden it's like, not only can they buy a drink for themselves, but they can buy a drink for their friend or whatever, or they can go and do the thing.
Yeah.
It's nice. You can enable game, and it's like being able to uplift people is like awesome. Like I really like that.
I know from before Bung and I took over hosting that you would often talk to Dave about the fact that Tallis has kind of reached peak. I think that you are still cresting that wave. You are a credit to Navarre, even if you're fancy, even if you blow bubbles everywhere and you're not necessarily on brief, according to Dave. Like, I think
he hates it so much.
According to Ecuador's, he is on brief.
I have such a love and such an eternal gratitude for who Tallis is.
Shucks.
So yeah, you're going to take that compliment, you're going to digest it, you're going to like it, and we're going to move on with our lives. We're going to pretend like we're not getting sentimental, dear listeners, because we're all three of us rubbish at dealing with praise and goodwill.
I tell you what,
I don't know what you
neither
mean.
of us can die agony. Neither of us can die.
Nobody can die. No more death.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Wow.
I remember saying before this event, it's like, I just want one event where there's no death, because obviously E1 Demarian, E2 Gellert, E3 me.
We jinxed it every single time.
Yeah.
Oh, that was another really cool thing, actually. I invited Xandros, who's Demarian's Angus's new character, over to because obviously he's really good friends with us all as well.
Yeah.
But I see, being a detractor of Tallis's, it was like, come see how we die and you might understand how we live, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like him coming over and being like I understand now, and it was just like, it helps. Like now we can have this kind of different shift in the relationship, and we can have like it's cool to be able to. And I think this is a fear. This kind of goes into what you were saying, Bung, like those breaking of connections. It's interesting because your friends, OC, you can find very interesting, empathetic ways to realistically build those relationships back in. Like, realistically, I, as Ian, want Angus as a player to be able to play with us and have fun, and we will accommodate a way to get him back into the story if he wants it, right? So it's like you can kind of work together to make things work, and not in like a very kind of orchestrated kind of way. Almost, you can just be like, come along, do this thing if you want, and or explore your own thing or whatever. It's nice to be able to do.
Yeah. It was a beautiful afternoon, and it was topped off with the Jackdaw party.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was a really lovely way to. I think the Jackdaw party just came at just the right time, right? Where obviously we'd had sort of the downers and the kind of catharsis of it,
and the downers.
Jeez. And we'd had that moment, as you say, OC, to kind of grab a milkshake and do all that things, and then we went off to the Jackdaw party.
Because while you guys was
octopus play and all that kind of stuff.
Because while you guys went off to get your milkshakes, I basically stayed at camp, decompressed completely.
Yeah, you kind of wanted a moment on your own, didn't you?
I just wanted a bit of time on my own, sort of chilled out in my tent, took Keys' tattoos off, which was a very emotional moment, because I've been doing the same things on my face for 6 years. That's very much who this person is. Getting out of and removing all the various things that are I personally deemed as identifiable get to that person.
Yeah.
Like those various pendants, the Pit of Ambition jersey, tunic, and things like that. And so basically, the only other tunic I had on me was a long sleeve wool tunic. So I grabbed my knife and cut the sleeves off it. Did that, drew the new tattoos on, and went out for a wander around Anvil as a new person. And happened into meeting Benno D. Carver, I believe, L, a Conde Carver.
A little known man.
Yeah, some weirdo called, I think, Leonardo.
Yeah, that's the other important thing to say. Like, Dave was running around as...
a Crimson Reaper all weekend.
Yeah.
Which was great.
Well, 2 Crimson Reapers, technically.
Yeah.
He died alongside costume.
To a Shark Herald again.
To the Shark Heralds again, you know.
Which I found...
I'd like to think it was the same member of the skirmish who were going, same guy.
Oh,
Brilliant.
God, I really hope so.
So good.
But I didn't catch very much of the Jackdaw Party. I didn't catch the Coctopus. But I love that play. Like, I know the person who runs it's cartel within the Freeborn, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the person that runs that cartel, I know them. They are just great. I love their plays.
They've actually expanded it from when we first saw it, Bung.
Oh, have they still got the pearl?
There's the pearl that comes later.
Yes. Oh
So
my God, it's so good.
Anyway, we can't, no spoilers, but it's great.
Yeah.
It's
If
really
anybody,
good.
it's not for children.
No,
Definitely not.
for children.
No.
The clue's in the name.
Yeah.
They do give ample warnings at the start,
Yeah.
which is also another really good thing. Like a lot of the performances and a lot of these things, you'll often find this around Anvil. People are very good about giving kind of content warnings and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was fucking awesome.
It's so good. But yeah, so I missed the Coctopus. I turned up just as the fire dancing was starting.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
I
was
missed the
awesome.
fire dance.
Oh my God, fire dancing, so good.
I heard it was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a member of the Jackdaws and then 2 of their companions, which I think, like, obviously OC, they like do stuff together, but they're all in different nations, which I find quite cool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it was so fun.
Yeah, they're really, really awesome to watch.
Yeah.
And yeah, just the pure charisma coming from them doing it as well and getting the crowd going.
They were hyping each other up as well. Like there was a moment where there's a one guy that was dancing and they had obviously the photos will speak for themselves. But he'd finished just doing his little dance and being this really incredible person. And all you heard when he went to go return his little, I don't know what they're called, little sponges on a stick.
They're doing poi.
I'm going to call it sponge on a stick.
It's not a stick, it's on a chain technically.
Wow.
I think you'll find, actually.
Sponge on a stick. So he goes, puts them down, and then all you hear is, "That was fucking awesome." And I was like, yes. Yes, it was. And there was a lot going on. There was like movers and shakers within the Jackdaws. The Reapers were all there. The Prince was there, being loud and obnoxious. I love you, Reese. And there's like a little intermission. For the between the things, so I go off and do that. Were you still there? Were you still there?
During the intermission, I realised because I'd left my tankard back at camp. So initially, I'd borrowed a tiny little tankard off of May.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, I'm going to get my actual tankard because it was a little bulbous thing, so it looked like a tiny miniature version of my tankard. So it's like, oh wow, I feel like I'm just giant now.
Yeah, May's kit is a Reaper, by the way. Oof.
Oh, yeah.
So
I love what they've got instead of a codpiece. It's just a little tiny felt frog.
So good. The Reapers in general, just the kit is
they're so good.
outrageous.
It's horribly good.
Yeah.
Disgusting. That leather jacket will be mine, Billy. Thank you very much. Goodbye. But yeah, so there was a little intermission. I go off up the main alleyway in the league looking for booze, and because I also forgot my tankard that whole evening, so unless it came in a bottle, I was screwed. And incredibly logical Millie from the night before. Oh no, this was on the Saturday. Incredibly logical Millie bought a bottle of mead and was like, I don't have a drinks receptacle for water because I'm dehydrated because it's hot. So I downed that bottle of mead to make room for water.
Oh my gosh.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I am not claiming to be a wise woman.
Yeah.
I'm not claiming to be a smart woman. I'm just claiming to be a woman that wanted water, so got through a litre of mead to get there.
Where did you find me later on? 'Cause was it dawn or was it?
No, so what had happened was I went to go find these drinks at Fancy Nuts, and I see James and Fiona IC, Sophie OC, great people just shouting Fancy
wonderful
Nuts,
people,
and they were selling flavoured vodka. So I was like, excellent, that's a bottle. I need that. Was buying that, and a wave of reapers run past. And those wave of reapers are shouting, "The prince has been poisoned." And it's like, I've never been in Anvil when there's a poisoning going on. I do not understand the tonal shift, which we talk about a lot, but the league started shutting down.
Yeah.
Like,
wow. Yeah.
it was like, you do not leave the league. Nobody comes in, nobody goes out. It was like martial law was implemented. So naturally, I go up to the first Reaper I see and I go, "What's going on? Can I help?" He goes, "No, you can't. And by the way, your name was mentioned. So make yourselves guess." And it was because everybody knows that I've got this game with the prince, right? So naturally, because I'm a massive antagonizer, I get called out. So I was like, cool, never mind then. I'm going to run away.
Yeah.
So I run away, and you guys were all at camp. So I ran to camp, ran into members of House Goldvein from Dawn, who I love very much. Like Ariane Rod owes Agni a favour. I have not forgotten. I will be cashing it in. And like loads of them. They're all incredible people. I love them very much. Like, I just love people at Empire, man. They're so wonderful.
Oh yeah.
We find you all at camp, and then we kind of go out together to the Star Bar.
That was it, yeah.
Which is where we got the mead. Which is where we found out that the prince had been more than poisoned. He'd been killed and was now dead.
Yes, because I think Leonardo was with us at that point as well, wasn't he?
I think so, yeah.
I don't think I knew like any of this until the Star Bar. I think maybe I'd been doing whatever Talis does between then and then. So I think like we went to the Star Bar, and then I remember these two. Best way to even explain them is like investigators. And they told us, right?
Yeah, it was. I think they were two Navari. I want to say. I think I'd run into them on the battlefield.
Right.
I was like, "How's your event going?" And they were like, "Oh, it's great. We've just been exploring. Can't go into the league though." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And it was like, "Oh, well, the prince is dead." And I was like, "Which one?" Because I learnt this from the Reckoning. And they were like, "The Crimson Reaper prince. He's been poisoned." Apparently, it was just like there was a massive amount of poisoning that whole weekend.
Yeah, a bit of a spate apparently, including the Throne's partner.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were able to be saved before the poison killed them.
I had this moment on Friday night where I was walking, that sort of back bit down the back of the league and the marches. That's like that kind of right up against the OC area. I was walking down there, and there was just these shifty people walking behind me. I know that this is a classic LARP thing where you always think there's shifty people walking behind you, or I do anyway. Yeah. But this was like super spidey senses tingling. I was like, I'm going to pick up my pace here a little bit.
Oh my God.
I was definitely on my own walking along with a coconut cup and a straw looking like a moron. It was very gankable. And I was like, all of a sudden I was like, as my drink is pouring over my hands and I'm trying to like take a sup of my beverage, being like, coconut is actually not very practical. Gellert was right.
I really enjoyed just running around, like thinking that we were going to get shanked everywhere we were, and it's like that element of terror just adds. It makes you feel like, again, drink responsibly when you're at LARP. At this point, we were all very drunk, and we were all just giggling and running around, and it was really weird.
Yeah, I think at one point you went back off to the Reapers. Me and Orion were staying down a bit, and we were like, we need to find something to drink. So we went into the marches. Nowhere was open in the marches, so we ended up going to Varushka.
Yeah.
And drinking in. We got a drink in Varushka and listened to some music there. We then went off to the Herf at Varushka, which had a kind of variety named Joanne. The one who has the benches that they store at our camp.
Oh, yeah.
They were singing with a couple of their freeborn friends.
Oh, that's nice.
At the Varushkan Herf, and Orion joins in. We're sort of just standing there having a great time.
I love that, man. Like when Orion and did you say Joanne?
Yeah.
When Orion and Joanne sit in our camp, just jamming together and singing songs, my little heart is so full.
It's lovely, isn't it? It's just so nice.
It's all about the atmosphere when it comes to Empire. But yeah, I ran off to the Reapers because I wanted to do an OC check-in with Reese because losing a character is horrible.
Well, when we heard about it, you were like, we should head over and make sure everyone's okay. So we both went over.
Yeah. And we sat with, because obviously Nick, we all know, like, I know very well. We went to Wayne together. We go to a lot of LARPs together. It's heavy. And we've spoken about it like constantly over the last couple of episodes.
Yeah.
When you lose one person, it's horrible. The Reapers lost a lot this summer.
Yeah. A lot of their original founders as well.
Yeah. So I wanted to go and check in on them. I think they were all right because they were nowhere to be seen. It was just Nico there. So, you know, obviously like Agni sits down, talks to them. Leonardo's there. The eyebrows are raised. The suspicion is questioned. But, you know, like it's at that point, we're kind of just OC at that point. I was a little bit too drunk to RP.
Yeah.
It was a really nice, even though everything horrible was going on, it was just nice to phase out of RP again and become Millie with Dave and Nick and just have a nice chat. Because like, as we've said on our mental health episode, like there are moments when LARP can just be too much.
Yeah.
And knowing when to phase out of that is the best. And I think that was like, I ended up sitting and chatting around with various people until 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
A dirty stop out.
I kind of left you because you looked like you needed that sort of space, so I left you there. With them, and at what stage Bung did because we went off obviously to the particular time with the particular pace in the Freeborn camp for the smart reading.
Oh, that was at 10 o'clock. I wasn't able to make that.
Right,
oh my God,
but when did we do the whole thing with Darius? When did that
was when we were walking to the Star Bar.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That was awesome.
Yeah, and Darius came up to you basically because obviously I was a new face.
Yeah,
but was obviously because there was the evening skirmish with a lot of the Thornthang and various other Navari.
Yeah, that was it.
I think at the time, obviously, rumour mill was circulating, but I heard that 45 or 55 Thornfang went out, and like either 5 or 10, like a huge number less came back.
I think it was basically the skirmish was I think either 45 or 55 people, and 20 people were lost on the skirmish.
Right. Yeah, and a lot of them were Thornfang.
Thornfang rather than Navar.
They were good friends. Well, for all of us, but for Darius especially, who's lost a lot. Like that man certainly knows loss. So I think he was talking to, as you say, like Talas and Agni about like we can't die kind of thing.
No.
Yeah,
but this was a really important moment actually. I'd almost like talked myself into this position where like if we didn't defend Farunin, I was sort of thinking like, and Talas's kind of home region fell, I was kind of thinking I would come back terminal next event. I was very much of that mindset, and I was kind of like, because he was very much like to the death in Farunin.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like, the backstory with the character and stuff won't bore everybody, but it was very much like his home, his mother and father's like home that he'd estranged from and finally got back was the thing he couldn't leave. So when I was like, if situations are as they are and Navar doesn't defend Farunin, I don't know if I can keep that. like, and it led to this really intense moment where he's like, he kind of called me out on it, and it was really fun to have this moment where he, as a character, like Darius the character, changed Talus's mind just through the power of his words. And it was really powerful RP just to be like, no, you're right, like your wisdom's always guided me through. And we had this really intense, like proper like head-to-head kind of RP.
It was two very different ways of dealing with death, wasn't it? Like you said before, Talus is very pragmatic, kind of like takes it on the chin, accepts that is the way it is, and carries on. And then having Darius, who is like fighting tooth and claw to keep people alive and to like claw them back, like shove them through the labyrinth, get them back, claw them back into existence. Like seeing those two different dynamics when it comes to dealing with loss was really beautiful. And it was like low key, because I was a little bit drunk, quite scary, but in a very like cathartic way, which I found really nice. And I think I was very lucky to witness that between the two of you as well.
It was lovely, dude, because it was like, I said, almost like you can do this in LARP sometimes. You can kind of talk yourself into a position, and it feels like there can be no, like you've almost like made yourself a sort of a railroad that you have to follow. And I was like, oh, well maybe, you know, and just have that moment where it's just like, oh no, that's actually, it's more compelling now. Like this character has engaged with my character in a way which has actually made this more compelling, and it makes sense. Like the logic is pure, right? Like of course I have to sort of follow this part of action. Like let's say it was like appealing to the character in a way where I had to act and respond to it. It was so nice. It was awesome. It was so good, and it turned into a sort of a moment where we could kind of console each other at the end and stuff like that. And it was so nice then, like, suddenly I was like, oh, that kind of thing, like, I am coming back next summit. Like, all of a sudden it was like, oh, I like that weight of, like, waiting on the decision of whatever the army does is now not there, right? Because he'll fight and he'll try and win, but he will come back and he will be their next summit. And that was just really nice.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like it's the two last. I mean, there's also Caddick and Quill. So, but as the two people on this podcast who are left alive, I think there's a like E4 always brings around a huge amount of change. Like the end of the LARP calendar is always the biggest change point, right? Because you've got between September, right? Yeah, September to April. So what's that? September, December, January, February, March. That's 7 months.
Yeah.
Where you can think of, develop, create a new character, or you can go through these huge amounts of like tonal shifts with your own current character. Like I know a lot of the development I did with Agni was in between the long darks.
Yeah, well, I mean, also like keep in mind that like you guys, you go to a bunch of other LARPs. I don't have that sort of.
I neither do I. Millie goes to all the LARPs.
Well, 15 and counting, baby.
Blimey, yeah, it's amazing. But like, you know what I mean? I for me, it's pretty much the Empire events and like maybe one or two others. So it's like it as they sort of tick down and as you're kind of staring into next year, and obviously as characters die who you interact with, when you're thinking about what will this mean for the future, what does this mean for me, right? Like in a very selfish way. I'm sort of sitting there like, and I like Gaius dying made me reflect on what would I do? Like, what the hell do I do if Talus dies? Like that's a like because I you know I mean it's like so it was very like reflective sort of period of like OC reflective when I was there. So it's nice to have this kind of this freeing moment where it's like it's okay, I can come back next time, play out E4, whatever happens. I may still die, of course, but that's the nature of things.
You've better fucking not.
But,
if Talus dies, then definitely Agni is a bad luck charm.
Oi.
Oh my gosh.
Hey now.
Marry her into the Ashbourne, then we all start dying.
I think we can all agree that this is somehow Dave's fault.
Yeah.
Seeing as he is the only person that is the only host that is not here.
Yeah, we'll blame him. He's not here.
No.
He's still in the basement.
Yeah, he knows what he did. But it's I like obviously we're going to carry on and do Sunday's episode. Ian, this is the end for now.
It is.
Yeah, back to the basement with you, boy.
Basically, my evening ended by going off to smut reading, listening to amazing smut.
There was Ashbourne
specifically about
smut.
specifically.
I'm
about
so sad I missed that.
It was
I can't believe I missed it,
guys. Like, so good. Like, I won't do any spoilers here, because if you can get hold of a copy, you should, because it is excellent stuff.
I'm gonna hunt Darius down.
Oh, it was so well done and so well performed.
Yeah, but I think the Saturday was the end of Empire for me. Like, not full stop, but like it was the end of my E3. I was emotioned out. Like, there was still a couple of things that happened on the Sunday.
Yeah.
But I think
there was the box was one of the major things on Sunday.
Yeah,
I mean, are you going to do a Sunday episode?
Yeah. So we're going to do a Sunday episode. But I think that because you're here, because you escaped from the basement.
I did. You let me out, Millie. Thank you.
Don't
put me back. Don't put me back, listeners. Don't let me.
I think it's really nice to have you here, and because like obviously we like anybody that's listened to this, we did 2 episodes on one day. So it just shows how much happened on the Saturday. It's a lot to unpack. It's a lot of emotions, both ICOC. I think it's just really nice to like round out the Saturday episode with a nice little ditty. So I really enjoyed having you on.
Yeah,
I love you very much. Your insight is incredible. You're a wonderful human being.
Oh, you guys, the flattery, but please don't stop.
Oh, Talis is coming out.
Yeah. Look at me. Don't look at me.
No, it's great. I mean, it was an awesome event. It's been an awesome year. I think because I probably won't get on another time. Who knows? I might do, but if I don't, then I guess broader themes for the whole year for me have just been like really becoming fully comfortable. Like last year was very much the last few years have been like discovering the character and discovering the scope of the character. Yeah. But this year I've felt so comfortable being the character, like, and just like I don't stop RPing basically. And it's but it's easy to do. I'm very fortunate the character is actually quite easy to play in the sense of they're not a character that inhabits necessarily a negative space or negative spaces. Like they're generally quite an uplifting character and pleasant to occupy, just even when bad things happen. But just becoming comfortable with the character has been like really nice, and becoming comfortable with just existing. And all of that is down to the wonderful people that you get to spend time with, which is predominantly you two.
I love LARP.
It's amazing. It's amazing. The way it sort of changes your life, in the way you perceive things, and the opportunities that are available to you, your own sort of skills and your own, like your own powers, right? Like, there's things that I've done that I never thought I would get to do, and I've said this many times on the podcast, but it's worth saying again. And you can use the vehicle of it to be like, no, you can do, you can do. And doing and discovering are their own reward. It's so good. I had a blast. Thank you so much for having me on.
That's okay. You've got a fun little LARP coming up is it October?
Yeah, October, very beginning of October, going to a Game of Thrones LARP. I'm really excited about that. I'm playing as Quillon Greyjoy, who is the head of House Greyjoy. He's like this 70-year-old, sort of once was super duper badass, sort of leader of the island, who also is the one who is like the reformist, who is like anti-slavery, anti sort of reaving without like uncontrolled reaving and all these kind of things, and is sickly and dying and has to sort of put all these things together. It's gonna be very interesting to play, a very different sort of character to play. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm going with awesome people.
Well, we're going to have you back on to talk about it because
Oh,
I want to know
definitely
all
wanna
of
talk
the
about
gossip and the details about it.
I mean, in fact, like a lot of it was putting together my kit at the beginning of this event. I sort of brought some of it so I could sort of put it on and then go down to the sellers and buy a couple of bits and bobs. But we'll get into that when we finally do an episode about it.
It looks good. But for now, my dear friends, my fellow Ashbourne, I think it's only fitting to close out the episode with our words, which is from ashes we rise.
From sorrows we grow.
Burn bright.
Burn bright and fear no darkness.
Strength to the Empire.
Strength to the Empire.
Coughs up blood.
Oh no, fuck off.
Not again.
Love you guys.
Oh God, love you.